Right, let's begin. And just explore the shape of your breath by gently expanding it. And this way you're getting a sense of its freedom or restrictions. We're also getting a read on the openness of our own body. So just to help us tune into our breath a little bit more deeply, we'll work with just a very simple ratio. We'll start with a 1-to-1 ratio. Just begin whenever that cadence begins for you. So our first step is simply to notice and feel where our breath currently expands to. Right. We're measuring that as a count or a pulse. But with that count or that pulse, there's a depth, there's a shape, there's tonal quality, an energetic gradient to it. And I find that when I normally begin a 1-to-1 ratio, the pulse, the beats, they change. So the first breath might be 6-6. A next breath might be 8-8. A next breath might be 5-5. A next breath might be 7-7. The inhale and the exhale are being held in equal measure. That's the point. I think it would be more unusual if we just had one number, one pulse, I think that would be unusual. Okay, we're going to transition. So we inhale, we hold, we exhale. 1, 1, 1. So if you inhale 7, hold 7, out 7. And start to notice what you feel as you're holding the breath. Oftentimes, we may start to feel an acceleration of some sort. Some people describe it as stress or a signal of a communication to go. An urgency. If that's something that you experience, that arousal, that an urgency, can it be understood or felt as simply that, a very healthy response to begin to take movement? Last round. Let's finish the one that you're on and do one more round. Maybe urgency or the desire to go or to move or to get out, maybe that's not harmful. Maybe it's a very healthy response that starts to mobilize us. So, we'll start to get moving. Let's bring our soles of feet together in Baddha Konasana. I want to draw our attention to this left side of the spine, specifically right here, right between the ribs and the pelvis. Okay, we know there's lots of kind of vertical bundles of muscle there. Inhale, I'm going to stretch with the left arm. Kind of spread this most superficial layer of lat. And then exhaling as you're reaching off to your right. I want you to feel that left side of spine receiving breath contact. Softening perhaps. Receiving more breath contact. Expanding, perhaps. And in these next two breaths, you're touching that left side of the spine. As you're exhaling, start to recruit those abdomen, this lower abdomen. The recruitment is in that back to front, that kind of horizontal corset. Zoop. Once more. Inhaling, softening these vertical hip structures along the left side of the spine. Exhaling and condensing these horizontally condensing abdominal structures. And then inhale, come upright. We'll switch sides. We'll set the left hand down. And we'll do that. Just give that same feeling, noticing practice to the right side. Inhale the right arm up. And feel that the lats, the most superficial layer of that backside, gets a little pick-me-up, gets a little spread out. If you don't feel that, reach a little more. Give a little more reach. And as you're exhaling, reach down, down, down to the sit bone. It'll start to cue us into the right side of the back, between the ribs and the pelvis. Right there. Can you meet that area? This is psoas and QL. Meet it with breath. Contact it with breath. So what we may be finding here is this is maybe a right side expanding move. Maybe it is a side bend. Maybe we are bending. Maybe we don't need to bend to feel this area expanding and softening. And these next final two breaths, feel that the abdominals gather up, gather around. So they're drawing from those deep back areas. So you're stretching the lats up, expanding through the right side of the spine, gathering from that lumbar, that fascia, and that backside to the front, getting a lot of engagement and spreading, and already so much movement. That's right under our noses, literally and proverbially. Inhale, we'll stretch that right arm up, over. Okay. So in Baddha Konasana, I want you to take a little bit of loop about shoulder width. So that when you raise your hands, and your hands can be encircled by this loop, your arms go wide enough where it doesn't feel smushy in your shoulders or your neck. So this can be shoulder width or a little wider. Just want you to be able to reach up. I want you to be able to straighten the arms so we can get both these lats having a good time. All right. So inhale, we'll take the arms, reach them up. They're supported by the loop. We're in Baddha Konasana. And then as you exhale, it's going to be a muscular exhale in the sense that you are muscularly drawing the ribs down. Those are the intercostals. So feel under the chest wall. Feel between the ribs as best as you can. There's a muscle action we use to inspire, to expand. And there's a muscle action we can use to expire, to draw the ribs down. One or two more. The stretching up of the arms is important. Can you expand all the way through that psoas, all the way through that low back area? And then release. So that's a nice little primer for dolphin. Let's set up for that. We go elbows and knees. Now when we bend our elbows, there's going to be a little more stretch in that upper arm area. Okay. That's kind of how the tissue works. Reaching arms straight up can be less, put less tug on the connective tissue than bent arms. Start to push and press. So the front side of the body gets involved. The back side of the body spreads out a bit. And exhale, the knees smoothly off the ground. Now, if you've lost that snugness, the tissue draw, the tissue feeling spread out across the shoulder blades, reset. Set the knees down, get the wrap of the shoulders, try again. For a long, long time, I would just do coming up into dolphin in a tiny or partial way just to maintain that feeling of that fascial spread across the upper back. And it may take a while to straighten the legs and to feel that wrap and that spread across the upper back. As you're reaching back through the sit bones, can you feel the two sides of your lumbar, low back, lengthening back? Can you feel the exhale muscles drawing the ribs down, down away from those pressing, active arms? It is so important to get those arms active so that we're using our breath, our intercostals, to get moving around the armpit, bronchial, upper lung, heart. This is a massive lymphatic area. And if we just kind of hang down on our arms and not activate them, we lose so much really great tissue work. Last couple of breaths. And set the knees down. And give yourself a rest. I'm going to draw us up a couple props. Okay. So, some of these things you might just have around, some things you may just have to fabricate. I'm going to show you a distance that we're going to aim to cover, and you'll just look around your the place that you're practicing for the best solution. So approximately, I'm looking for about this distance. But for me, this is good. But because I have the luxury of finding a soft thing, like this could be a roll, that just happens to be a little play ball or whatever this is, I can have the soft thing against my sternum. I could also use a roll. Right. So I'd want you to use something softer for breast tissue. But I'm looking for right about like so. A way for me to stand, place my forearms on the wall, and to have a little spacer right here so that I can't let my rib cage drift forward. This is going to be a spacer around which my ribs stay steady and my arms and shoulder blades move. So just see what you can draw up. In a pinch, I'll just put a block on the sternum, but soft things are nicer. All right, so we have that. Next, and maybe the next most important thing is when we're setting up, there's a tendency to lean, to belly sag, pelvic drape forward. I want you to stand mostly, lean minimally to zero. This is for the serratus. This is for the shoulder blade muscles. All right. So if I do see a leaner, I might just say walk forward, and I just mean get your feet more under your hips. All right, so here we are set up just like we know how to wrap those shoulders. So we're going to start right here. Inhale. So now you have this nice little touch of pressure in the sternum, that nice little spread of tissue in the upper back. And as you exhale, I'm just going to start to sort and feel and reach through the arms. Now, as you're reaching there, I just want to describe, give you a little more of a picture. Your serratus, my little fingers, and they interface with the ribs. It's almost like they weave into those mid-upper, those axilla ribs. So as you're reaching those arms forward, yep, exactly, perfect. Can you feel a little bit of engagement under the axilla, the armpit? Right. Well, it's time to take those forearms for a tour. So we're going to slide those forearms up about 1 inch. We'll take a couple breaths. Nice expansive, shape-shifting breaths. And when you're ready for a tiny bit more excitement, then we shift the forearms up maybe another 1/2 inch, maybe 1 inch. The thing about this wrapping that we do as we're reaching, just a few more breaths, just give you enough time to feel and explore that. The arms are reaching forward. And something needs to provide counterpoint, and that's our ribs. Just having that little touch. So counter movement is the rib cage kind of steadying back. Not moving it back, you're just steadying it. Back, arms can reach forward. All right. So that's just a nice little, I think, a sweet beginning tour of upper back. I think there's so much more here that we can do, but let's rest that for now. We'll come back to our mats. And if you have a roll, I want you to use it. If you don't have a roll or a soft thing, I want you to just go spine to ground. I do not, N-O-T, not want you to use a block. only a soft thing if you have a soft thing. If no soft thing, you'll just lie on the ground. Okay. Right, so I'm going to use my soft thing. Aha! And it's going right about mid-back, so right beneath the bottom tips of the shoulder blades. So this is going to go exactly how you imagine it to go. These are abdominals that we often do. Knees bent, feet on ground. We interlace the hands behind the head. Okay. So that reaching motion you're doing at the wall, keep reaching. The activity, the action of reach is so important to getting the structure prepared for things like hand balancing. Even downward dog is, head downward dog, hands. We need that serratal structure. We need that activation. All right. So if you're teetering on this little soft object in your upper mid-back, already you're starting to get a sense of like, oh boy, there's abdomen here. Here we go. So I'm resting the head in the hands, reaching up through the arms. Inhale. And then exhaling. Just in tone, bringing my left armpit to my right hip. So you feel some more of those ribby area muscles on the left side. Draw the low belly in and down. And as you inhale, unwind, come back center. And is it okay if you lean back a little bit over your soft thing? It is. As you exhale, reach up through the arms. The reach of the arms, relaxing the neck. And then I can just give a little extra squeeze, right armpit to left hip. Draw the low belly down. Inhale, unwind. Now, if you're using that soft object, you're breathing into your back ribs. I hope you get that. And then exhale, relaxing the head and the hands, reaching up through the arms, and we'll just give a little extra kind of condensing pinch of left armpit to right hip. Relaxing the head back. I want you to keep, these aren't neck ups, these are abdominal discoveries. Inhale, unwind. If you lean back a little bit, that's okay. Just know you might be a little more sore tomorrow or later, which is fun. Exhale, reach up through the arms. Give a little extra right armpit to left hip. Draw the belly in. Inhale, come back center. Breathing back into that soft object. And then exhale, just one up the center to wrap things up. Draw, sink the belly muscles, reach with the arms, rest with the head, and we'll release. So if you are on a soft object, just a little tilt to the side should do. So we can keep going into that when we're in person, and we can get some more wonderful details. But that should get us pretty well queued up for downward dog. Right? So let's set up for that. We'll go hands and knees. What are the odds that we can recreate that wrapping and reaching of the arms? Getting all that serratus and chest activity, feeling all that wonderful abdominal involvement as we press the knees off the ground. When we teach ourselves and provide for ourselves that kind of structure, that abdominal containment, we afford ourselves explorations with our breath into the backside of our body, the back of the diaphragm, the backside where those deep hips and deep survival reflexes live. We can go back to the spine, to the back of the heart. So that containment with the abdominals, that breathing, malleable containment affords us breathing explorations into the backside of the body. Feel that the neck can relax. And then press. The arms are not just as loose as possible. It's not a I'm on stilts balancing. It's I'm pressing, extending, spreading the fascia so that as I'm exhaling, I'm getting moving deep into armpit, deep in chest, deep under shoulder blades, getting those tissues moving, flushing that lymph, clearing those sticky areas around the heart. So press with the arms. Inhale, step the right foot forward, warrior two. Preemptively, I'm going to sneak a block up at the top of the mat because I have ideas for our future. But here we are in warrior two first. And as you're exhaling, I'm going to reach out through the arms because we can always be just biasing ever so slightly the tissue, the arm lines, the chest lines, okay? And it doesn't have to be a lot, but just that little bit of spread, almost like the way we kind of tug on the fabric of our shirt to straighten it. Just that little tug, and the quality of breath through that area just changes magnificently. Okay, extended warrior variation. Inhale the right forearm to the thigh, raise the left, and we're still going for that little tug. As we exhale, and press with the right, reach with the left. It's not that I'm stretching muscle, but I'm just biasing the fabric. I can feel breath interface with my very own structure. Reaching back to increase or deepen that bias and that access. All right, half moon, we lower that left hand. The block is on standby. Inhale, the right hand down. And we take the left heel up. Now, we got some places to play. So, only if you feel really steady, I just put myself up against a wall. You can take your left hand and go right under your rib cage. You can actually sneak your fingers right under there where the diaphragm is. It doesn't have to be a real significant dig, just a little. You can hook in a little. So now as you deepen your inhale, you can feel that muscle, that diaphragm muscle, just boop, right against those fingertips. Not too much in the front, not too much in the back, right in between, the side and the front. We'll take another. As you're inhaling, you feel the little muscle just nudge, push on those fingertips. You're not digging hard. It's just a little hook in, a discovery hook. And then as you're exhaling, send that left leg away from your fingertips. Arch, reach that chest away from your fingertips. Once more. lengthening through those low back structures. All right, inhale, set that left foot down. Shift weight all the way into your feet until you're upright. And if you still want to use the wall, go right ahead, use the wall. Pick up that right foot for standing pigeon. So we can grab the foot or the foot and the thigh. We're just doing a nice little pickup. When we're picking up, holding, supporting our our parts, can you feel that left side of our body, that place where we just got really expansive? Can we still expand and press and reach through the leg? Can we still expand through that deep, deep left side of the low back? It's just we're not grabbing and hunching and compressing down. It's not about the foothold. It's the whole posture. When we set our right foot down, exhale, we'll step back, hands to ground, feet step back, lower down. Cobra. Set the hands forward, inhale. Feel both sides of your low back lengthening, both areas under the diaphragm softening. You have to kind of explore with the breath. Don't just kind of shoot a breath in there, check it off the list, and head out of town. Like, let that breath kind of move and spread and search and feel and find and learn and know. Exhale, downward dog. Our breath is a sensing instrument, the most exquisite sensing instrument. Warrior two. Inhale the left foot forward. We'll reach the arms out to the side. I'm not prepared to state this as a fact, a scientific fact, but I am prepared to receive criticism for this being an intuitive, experiential fact. One of the things I don't get, I don't hear a lot about yet, I hope to one day, this bias, this fascial teasing, opening, breathing into, feeling. I'm going to take it into extended warrior chest opener. So inhale, place the left forearm to the thigh, raise the right arm up. I have a suspicion, a hypothesis, something worthy of criticism and testing, that to feel the tissues, the connective tissue, in these states of flux and draw and spread and softening and releasing, I'm wondering very, very much if this has some kind of immunomodulatory interfacing. Maybe it's through the mammillary gland, maybe it's through some other perceptual areas of the brain. But it feels very important, and it feels worthy of another at least 20 or 40 years of study for me, so I'm in it. Let's do some half moon. So we'll bend the left knee. If you got a block there, grab it. Inhale. I'm going to set up with a wall because I can. Exhaling the right leg heel height. And I'm mostly getting the wall just so that when I take my little fingertips and just kind of reach under the rib cage. I don't like, off kilter myself too much. Get a little fingertip, just shunk, right under there. There's diaphragm. And then inhaling that nice, deep, expansive inhale will just give us another instance of, hey, there's my diaphragm. And then exhaling, reach that right leg away from your fingertips. This is going to set us up in a moment. Maybe as you're exhaling, can you feel how that diaphragm moves? All right, inhale, bend the left knee, place the right foot down to stand. So we're standing on right foot, picking up left foot. And if you have to be a little bit more concerned with knee, remember, we have lots of, we can angle that, that knee any way that we need. So there's some days it might be more appropriate to work like almost like a standing happy baby. Like that's, so just work it the way we need to work it. Just that we're drawing that one leg up and stretching, reaching that right leg down. And we're going to focus right into this low waist area. Inhale, the ribs expand. Maybe you can still feel the little residual soma memory of your fingertips being there. And then as you exhale, stepping, reaching down, growing the guts, the trunk up. One more deep searching breath. Don't give up on that inhalation. It's got a lot of searching, exploration fuel. And then we'll release, setting that left foot down. Inhale, hands to ground. We'll step the feet back. Exhale, lower all the way down. We want to feel what's happening under this diaphragm. So Cobra, it is. Just know we'll spend 3 breaths in Cobra just to make sure that we are breath exploring. Okay, it's going to put a little shift in the tail. Inhale. Letting that breath deploy into the abdomen, which is into the back. We're pulling with the hands, drawing the shoulders down. Maybe with another breath, we can feel the ribs moving all around that diaphragm. Into the chest wall. And once more, getting all the way from abdomen through the diaphragm into the chest wall. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, the hands under the chest. Exhale, downward dog. Feel the low back, the muscles, the soft stuff, the tissues that flank the low spine. Feel those softening, lengthening back as your sit bones move away from your head. Now press with arms, vibrant arms. As you keep those arms working and vibrant, the shoulders wrap, the armpit and chest muscles involved, work these next 2 exhales. with the intent of kind of drawing, almost scoping through the armpit with movement, with exhale movement, with intercostal movement. And then when we rest for a moment, we're going to shift our mat over to the wall. And actually I want to do two things. One, I want to do Uddiyana with us, and then I want to go upside down. Downward dog on the wall. All right. So we can do Uddiyana standing, which is fine. You could do Uddiyana from your knees. You can do it from hands and knees. We can do it lying. We can do it all sorts of places. I'm going to show you one of my do Uddiyana on a chair. Okay, which is really kind of great because you could very easily move the legs apart and feel the Uddiyana interfacing through the pelvic floor. So just ideas. We're going to together do 1 or 2 rounds of Uddiyana, and then we'll just pause, we'll regather, and move to next. So with the Uddiyana, take a nice deep breath into the belly and the low back. And a swift exhale everything out. You can draw the belly in. You can also lift and flare the ribs muscularly as if to inhale, but without inhaling. So as you lift those ribs, you're going to get a tremendous stretch underneath that diaphragm. And take a rest. I didn't say this before because if you were using the chairs, some of you are, the likelihood that you just kind of sit and separate the legs and play with the Uddiyanas, I would imagine pretty high. I want to put this in a sidebar. So I just want to show you something now, but we won't do it together now unless you go rogue and I'm doing it anyway. But I just want to show you. I can do a round of Uddiyana, and from seated, because it's a little more resting, I could dose in a teeny tiny bit of twisting horse stance. And why I would do that is the stretch, the information about the diaphragm in the back is really, it's not like any other position. So I just do a round just to show you how slowly I might dose in the twist. I'm not going to suggest we do it today. We could do it in a longer format class, but just want you to kind of see just how modest and searching and feeling of a turn you could work in. I just think it's really easy on the chair because I can shift my weight. So anyway, just Uddiyana's amazing. There's so many ways that we can do it except the classic standing way, and I just want to open up some avenues of excitement. All right, let's do our downward dog on the wall, and then we'll start to wrap things up. So I'm just going to roughly frame this for us. You don't have to be exactly on cue here. Get our downward dog. And then inhaling, a foot up. Active arms, nothing passive through the arm lines. Exhale the other foot up. And by using those little places where you palpate it under your rib cage, you can feel for that dome of diaphragm moving all inside that rib cage. Feel for those diaphragm breath movements. Just 2, maybe 3 more of them while we're upside down. We have an unusually awesome amount of new sensation. There you go. Just feeling the inside contour of the ribs through the diaphragm. There you go. This looks like a really steady study. Good for us. Good for us. There you go. Sweet. And don't overdo. Just, there's today and then there's tomorrow. Or later. There you go. All right. When we start moving in the direction of sitting, lying, I want you to grab your block or your soft objects. So we're going to bridge up and just have a little bit of elevation under the pelvis. I'm choosing the firm objects, side-by-side blocks, just to feel the rotation of my pelvis. You could put a soft object under. It's really so nice and soft. And you do have that kind of wiggle softness, and that could be really nice. But the point here is just to get the hips elevated a little bit. Knees are bent. And we'll reach the arms overhead. We'll just do one round of Uddiyana. We'll do this one together. Just exhale, whoosh everything out. Stay empty. Kind of lift, flare the ribs up. And relax when you're done. Just take some breaths. Okay, I really do want to give us 2 more rounds, and here's why. On the next round, as you draw the belly in, Uddiyana, you'll flare the ribs. Play with straightening the left leg, stretching it all the way out. Okay? When you've complete that round, just bend the legs, take a rest, and we'll do a third and a final, where we stretch the other leg out. We'll bend, we'll rest, and then we'll move to Shavasana. So I'll roughly talk us through the first one, then you'll know exactly how to proceed. Inhale. Just got my arms stretched up overhead. You'll exhale everything out, just like Uddiyana. Just whoosh it out. The belly gets kind of suctioned in. Flare, lift the ribs. Straighten out one of your legs along the ground. Just slide it out. Working the Uddiyana, working the rib lift. Stretching the arms, stretching the leg. And when you release, you release. And draw that leg in. And we'll do one more for the other leg. I'm going to exit here just to see what you're doing. So final round, Uddiyana. Inhale. Just whoosh it out. The abdomen kind of gets a little suctioned in. The ribs lift. And straightening, reaching out the other leg. Just send it out. If you're working arms overhead, you can really work the stretch as you lift the ribs a little more. And we really are using this Uddiyana as like a scope, almost like a little dental tool to kind of get in and investigate around the diaphragm and the psoas and the back and the organs and the ribs and the pleura and it's really an extraordinary exploratory tool. And releasing. All right. So here's some ideas for resting. You can rest with both legs straight in this little micro back bend shape. If you don't find that comfortable at all, just bridge a little bit off those objects, get them out of the way, lower the spine down, and then we can rest the legs in a way that maybe feels more suitable. Bent knees, legs up wall or legs up on chair. Right. We did a few little different things, little departures from usual. So you just use these moments to just kind of feel your breath. Any changes, qualitative changes in your breath. Any qualitative changes in the structures around breathing, the thorax, the diaphragm, the psoas, the low back, the ribs. And we open, 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 open to our awareness. Body softens. And it feels more vast. Starts to feel less bound and more infinite. And of course, there can be a lot of existential grips or fears around openness or too much openness. So we just explore just how deep, how vast does this breath feel in my body? So perhaps part of what we're exploring is who we are as boundless, even infinite. So let's bend knees. We'll turn to a side and we'll press up. There's a sun in most of your rooms, so there's a day. Namaste.